We must do better. Mankind must become better. So hindsight is 2020, they say. I ran for U.S. Senate in the state of New York as a LaRouche candidate in 2022 to unseat the long-standing career politician, warmonger Chuck Schumer. He would not even debate me, even though I filed 66,000 signatures to have my name placed on the ballot. I'm Diane Sayre, and I'm running again in 2024 against Kirsten Gillibrand, the junior senator from New York, who is every bit as much of a warmonger as Chucky Schumer. She just looks a little younger, and she goes around the state handing out checks and cookies, so people think she's innocent, but she is married into British aerospace. She's on the Intelligence Committee, and she's generally bad news if you are, like most Americans, for peace, would like security and economic prosperity here at home, and are wondering why we're sending billions of dollars overseas to fascist regimes like Ukraine or the Bibi Netanyahu lunatic in Israel who is slaughtering thousands of children in Gaza. So I'm going to play for you, just to let it sink in a little bit, what Chuck Schumer had to say when they just passed Biden's request for $95 billion through the U.S. Senate. It's quite ridiculous. Luckily, it's probably not going to pass the House, but listen to this guy, and you'll have a sense perhaps why we're in so much trouble and why everyone should support me this time.
Yep. All right. So, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us after a long night. Today, after not just a long night and weekend, but after months of work, we can say it's been worth it. Today, we witnessed one of the most historic and consequential bills passed the Senate, a bill that so greatly impacts not just...
Now, you might ask, worth it for whom? The senators whose pockets are getting lined by their military industrial contracts? Certainly not the people of Ukraine or Gaza, or frankly, Israel, for that matter, or Taiwan. Really despicable, and certainly not those of us here at home who are suffering from hyperinflation and violence thanks to these policies.
Our national security, not just the security of our allies, but also the security of Western democracy as we know it.
Tonight, Western democracy? Zelensky outlawed 13 political parties and canceled elections. Bibi Netanyahu is jailing politicians in the Israeli Knesset who called for peace. So I guess if that's Schumer's idea of democracy, well, you know, maybe that's why we find we don't really have free elections or freedom of speech in the United States.
Finally, America led the way for freedom and democracy. And with this bill, the Senate declares that American leadership will not waver, falter, or fail.
Anyone seen Biden lately?
Today, the Senate keeps its word to Ukrainians in need, desperate need, of supplies and ammunition, to innocent Palestinian civilians in need, so much need, of relief, to Israelis in need of support, and to U.S. service members on patrol in the Indo-Pacific, the Red Sea, and around the world.
Bring the troops
Today,
home.
we sent a clear bipartisan message of resolve to our allies in NATO. With the strong bipartisan vote in the Senate, it's clear that if Speaker Johnson brings this bill to the House floor, it will pass with that same bipartisan support.
Absolutely not. And it does show that the majority of the Senate is a bunch of lunatics.
The responsibility now falls on Speaker Johnson and House Republicans to approve this bill swiftly. And I call on Speaker Johnson.
By the way, Schumer also took everything out of the bill dealing with the southern border, which still remains wide open. and a complete catastrophe for the nation. There is nothing being done to address this both humanitarian and security crisis.
Johnson to rise to the occasion, to do the right thing, bring this bill to the floor. As I said, given the large, robust majority here in the Senate, it is clear that if that bill is brought to the floor, our bill is brought to the floor, it will pass. But if the hard right kills this bill, it would be an enormous gift to Vladimir Putin. It would be a betrayal of our partners and allies and an abandonment of our service members. And as I said, I believe if this bill is brought to the House floor, it will pass with strong bipartisan support. There are large numbers of Democrats and Republicans in the House who know we have to stand up to our responsibilities and aid Ukraine. I thank all of my colleagues in the Senate who supported this bill. Thank you to Senators Murray and Murphy, Sinema and Langford, Collins, Leader McConnell as well. And thank you to all the senators and staffs who worked through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Easter.
Okay, so I don't want you to have to get out your barf bags and listening to the rest of this. Give a gift to Vladimir Putin by not funding the war with Ukraine. Maybe we should give a gift to Vladimir Putin. We're certainly not giving any gifts to the Ukrainian people. They've lost, no one really knows, 350,000, 500,000 Ukrainian troops. The average age of a Ukrainian soldier is now 43. So this is not helping the Ukrainian people. Joe Biden thinks it's helping his reelection efforts, but it's becoming apparent to everyone that a president of the United States who doesn't know the difference between Mexico and Egypt may be a liability. So once again, I'm Diane Sayre. I'm a candidate for U.S. Senate. I ran against Chuck Schumer in 2022 on the LaRouche line. I'm running now with Jose Vega, who is running against Richie Torres in the 15th CD. I'm running against Kirsten Gillibrand for U.S. Senate, again on the LaRouche line. Please sign up to volunteer, help with the petitioning, donate, get active, and above all, throw these career politicians out of office before they get us all destroyed.